What I'm about to share with you could be the difference between spending the rest of your life on blood pressure medications and taking control of your health naturally. If you're one of the 75 million Americans currently struggling with high blood pressure, the exercise I'm about to show you as number 3 might shock you because it's not what you think. And when I explain the mechanism, you're going to understand why most people do exercises that actually make their blood pressure worse. I'm Dr. Eliza Wright, and I've spent 23 years helping patients lower their blood pressure without relying solely on medication. Today, I'm going to give you the 3 most effective exercises, backed by real science, that can genuinely move the needle on your blood pressure. But here's what I need you to understand first. Not all exercise is created equal when it comes to blood pressure. In fact, some popular exercises can spike your numbers dangerously high in the moment and provide no long-term benefit. What I'm about to teach you is different. These are the 3 exercises that clinical research consistently shows lower blood pressure both immediately and over time. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll have a complete protocol you can start using today. And I need you to do something for me right now. If you're finding value in this information, hit that subscribe button and join this channel where I give seniors medical information that most people pay thousands to learn. I believe you deserve access to truth about your health. Let's begin with understanding why exercise is so powerful for blood pressure. But first, let me tell you about Harold, because his story is going to illustrate something critical about how exercise affects blood pressure. Harold was 69, retired, and determined to get healthy. He'd read online that running was the best exercise for heart health, so he started jogging every morning. He'd put on his running shoes, hit the pavement, jog for 20 minutes, come home exhausted, and immediately measure his blood pressure. The numbers terrified him, 175/100 after every run. He was convinced his condition was worsening despite the exercise. His doctor was ready to add another medication. But here's what Harold didn't understand about the physiology of exercise and blood pressure. When you engage in intense cardiovascular exercise like running, your blood pressure spikes during the activity because your heart is working harder to pump blood to your muscles. This is normal, expected, and temporary. The problem is that many people like Harold measure their blood pressure immediately after exercise and see those high numbers. They panic. They think exercise is making things worse. But what they don't realize is that their actual resting blood pressure is probably dropping. The immediate post-exercise reading is just their cardiovascular system still recovering from the physical stress. And here's what matters even more. If you choose the wrong type of exercise, you're not getting the long-term blood pressure benefits that exercise should provide. Let me explain what the research shows and what the 3 most effective exercises actually are. The key to understanding which exercises lower blood pressure lies in something called arterial compliance. Your arteries are like flexible tubes. Over time, especially with high blood pressure, they become stiff and rigid. Stiff arteries mean higher pressure because your heart has to work harder to push blood through vessels that can't flex and expand. Certain types of exercise actually reverse arterial stiffness. They make your arteries more flexible again. This takes time, typically several months of consistent practice, but the effect is profound. Studies show that regular practice of specific exercises can lower systolic blood pressure by 8 to 12 points, sometimes more. That's comparable to what many medications accomplish. Now, before I reveal the 3 exercises, I need to tell you about Catherine because her story demonstrates why understanding this matters so much. Catherine was 71, had been on 2 blood pressure medications for 5 years, and felt like she'd tried everything. She walked every day, which is great, but her blood pressure remained stubbornly high. She came to me frustrated, asking if she'd ever be able to reduce her medications. I asked her what kind of walking she was doing, and that's when I discovered the problem. She was walking at a leisurely pace, window shopping pace, maybe 2 miles per hour, chatting with friends the whole time. While any movement is better than none, this type of exercise wasn't going to significantly lower her blood pressure. The 3 exercises I'm about to show you work differently. They target specific physiological mechanisms that directly reduce blood pressure. And exercise number 1 might surprise you because it's not what most doctors recommend. Let me tell you about Richard, because his experience with this exercise changed everything for him. Richard was 67, skeptical about exercise helping his blood pressure because he'd tried walking and swimming without success. I'd been recommending this exercise to patients for years with remarkable results, so I asked him to give it a try. Richard was reluctant but agreed. 3 months later, his blood pressure had dropped from 158/95 to 132/78. He'd reduced one of his medications with his doctor's approval. He was amazed. What was this exercise? Isometric hand grip training. Now I know what you're thinking. Hand grip exercises? That sounds too simple to possibly work. But let me explain the mechanism, because the science here is actually quite fascinating. Here's what's happening. When you squeeze a hand grip device, or even just squeeze your own hand into a fist with moderate intensity, you're creating resistance in your muscles. This resistance causes your muscles to compress blood vessels temporarily. Blood flow is restricted. Your body responds by releasing vasodilators, which are chemicals that open up and relax your blood vessels. Over time, with repeated practice, this process of vessel relaxation becomes more efficient. Your arteries become more compliant, more flexible. The resting tone in your blood vessels decreases and blood pressure drops. Research from the American Heart Association shows that isometric hand grip training can reduce systolic blood pressure by 10 to 15 points. Some studies show effects as large as 20 points. This isn't minor, this is significant. Now let me tell you exactly how to do this correctly, because technique matters. You're going to need a hand grip device. You can find them online for under $10, or you can use a stress ball, or even just a tennis ball. The goal is to grip at about 30 to 40% of your maximum grip strength. You should feel resistance, but you shouldn't be straining maximally. Squeeze for 2 minutes, then release and rest for 2 minutes. Repeat this 3 to 4 times per session. You'll do 3 sessions per week on non-consecutive days. Now here's the critical part that most people get wrong. The squeeze needs to be sustained and steady. You're not doing rapid squeezes. You're not squeezing as hard as you can. You're applying steady, moderate pressure and holding it. During those 2 minutes of squeezing, maintain consistent pressure. Don't squeeze harder as you get tired. Keep it steady. After 3 months of consistent practice, you should see meaningful reductions in your blood pressure. Richard was doing this while sitting in his living room watching television. No special equipment, no gym membership, no getting out in the cold, just 15 minutes, 3 times a week while relaxing. But here's what I need you to understand before we move to exercise number 2. Isometric training isn't for everyone. If you have severe heart disease or have been told to avoid resistance training, check with your doctor first. Also, don't hold your breath while squeezing. Keep breathing normally. This is a safe, gentle exercise, but like anything medical, you want to confirm it's appropriate for your specific situation. Now let me show you exercise number 2, and this one is going to make sense once I explain it. But first, I need to tell you about Margaret, because her experience with this exercise illustrates something profound about blood pressure physiology. Margaret was 73, retired nurse, meticulous about her health. She'd been struggling with high blood pressure despite being on medications. Her doctor mentioned she might need to add a 3rd drug, and Margaret wanted to avoid that if possible. I'd been recommending this exercise to patients for years with wonderful results, so I suggested she try it. She was skeptical. She thought it sounded too simple, but she agreed to try it for 3 months. Her blood pressure dropped from 152/92 to 128/76. She avoided the 3rd medication. Her doctor was impressed. What was this exercise? Diaphragmatic breathing, sometimes called belly breathing or deep breathing exercises. Now, I know what you're thinking. Breathing? Can something as basic as breathing really lower blood pressure? The answer is absolutely yes, and here's why. Most of us breathe shallowly throughout the day. We take quick, short breaths from our chest. This is called thoracic breathing. It's fine for normal daily activities, but it doesn't fully engage your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system that promotes relaxation and lowers heart rate and blood pressure. When you practice diaphragmatic breathing, something interesting happens. You're stimulating the vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem down through your diaphragm. This nerve is your body's primary pathway for activating the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system. When the vagus nerve is stimulated, your heart rate slows, your blood vessels relax, and your blood pressure drops. Research shows that just 5 to 10 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing can lower systolic blood pressure by 5 to 10 points. And with consistent practice over months, the effects become more pronounced and more lasting. Let me tell you exactly how to practice this correctly. Find a comfortable position. You can sit or lie down. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, just below your rib cage. As you breathe in, imagine you're filling your belly with air like a balloon. Your belly hand should rise. Your chest hand should stay relatively still. You want the movement to be in your belly, not your chest. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 2. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. The exhale should be longer than the inhale. This is important. The extended exhale is what stimulates the vagus nerve most effectively. Practice this for 10 to 15 minutes daily. You can do it first thing in the morning, before bed, or whenever you have a quiet moment. Margaret did this while sitting in her favorite chair, reading the news. She made it a relaxing ritual. Now here's what's beautiful about this exercise. There's no equipment needed. You can do it anywhere. You're doing it right now as you're watching this video. You could pause and try it for 60 seconds. Many of my patients tell me this is the easiest exercise to stick with long-term because it fits into normal life. You don't need to change clothes, go to a gym, or carve out special time. You can do it while watching television, while waiting for an appointment, while sitting in traffic. This makes it sustainable, and sustainability is everything when it comes to blood pressure management. But I want to tell you something important before we move to exercise number 3. The first 2 exercises target specific mechanisms. Hand grip training improves arterial compliance. Diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Both are powerful. But exercise number 3 is what I consider the most important exercise for overall blood pressure management. And it's probably not what you expect. Let me tell you about Edward, because his experience with this exercise was transformative. Edward was 68, had been struggling with high blood pressure for over a decade, and was on his 4th medication. The medications were controlling his numbers, but he felt terrible, fatigue, dizziness, reduced stamina. He wanted to find a way to reduce his medication burden, but his doctor was hesitant without evidence that his blood pressure could be controlled through other means. I'd been recommending this exercise for years, so I asked Edward to commit to a program. He was determined. He started practicing this exercise 3 times per week, carefully following the protocol. Within 4 months, his blood pressure was stable enough that his doctor agreed to reduce one of his medications. Within 8 months, he'd reduced a second medication. His blood pressure remained controlled at 126/78 on just 2 medications instead of 4. He felt like himself again. What was this exercise? Brisk walking, but not just any brisk walking, interval walking. Now, I know interval walking might sound complicated, but it's actually quite simple. And here's why it works so well for blood pressure. When you alternate between moderate intensity and higher intensity walking, you're doing something powerful to your cardiovascular system. You're training your heart to pump more efficiently. You're improving the function of your blood vessel linings, the endothelium. You're reducing arterial stiffness. You're burning fat. And you're teaching your body to recover quickly from physical stress, which is exactly what you need for healthy blood pressure. Let me explain exactly how to do interval walking. Start with a 5-minute warm-up at an easy, comfortable pace. Then alternate between 2 minutes of brisk walking, where you're walking at about 70% of your maximum effort, and 2 minutes of moderate walking at about 50% effort. This means you'd walk a little faster for 2 minutes, then slow down slightly for 2 minutes, then pick up the pace again. Repeat this pattern for about 20 to 25 minutes total, including your warm-up and cool-down. The key is that the brisk intervals should elevate your heart rate and make you feel slightly breathless, but you should still be able to have a conversation. You're not sprinting, you're walking with purpose. The moderate intervals allow you to catch your breath before the next brisk interval. Do this 3 times per week with at least 1 day of rest between sessions. Edward was doing this at his local park, listening to music on his headphones. He said it made the time go by quickly and actually made him feel good, which surprised him because he'd always hated traditional exercise. Now, Here's what I need you to understand about interval walking specifically. It's more effective than continuous moderate walking for lowering blood pressure. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that interval walking reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 12 points, compared to just 6 points from continuous moderate walking. That's double the benefit. The reason is that the intensity variation creates a stronger stimulus for improving cardiovascular function. Your heart and blood vessels adapt more dramatically to the challenge. But I want to be clear about something. If you've been sedentary, if you haven't exercised in a long time, don't start with interval walking. Start with regular brisk walking, steady pace, 20 to 30 minutes, 3 times per week. Build up your baseline fitness for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Then add the intervals gradually. Your body needs time to adapt. Pushing too hard too fast can actually raise your blood pressure temporarily and increase your risk of injury. There's no rush. The goal is sustainable, lifelong practice. Now, I want to bring all 3 exercises together into a complete protocol that you can start using this week. But first, let me tell you about one more thing that connects these exercises. Something I see confuse patients all the time. Many people think they need to choose between medication and lifestyle. They think it's one or the other, but the truth is that these exercises work beautifully alongside medication. They don't replace medical treatment, but they enhance it. They give your body additional tools to manage blood pressure. Over time, with consistent practice, you and your doctor might discover that you need less medication. This is the goal. Not to throw away your medications, but to reduce your reliance on them by giving your body what it needs to function properly. These exercises are medicine. They're just medicine that doesn't come in a bottle. Now, let me give you the complete protocol. The complete program for using these 3 exercises to lower your blood pressure. First, hand grip training, 3 to 4 sessions per week on non-consecutive days. Each session is 3 to 4 rounds of 2 minutes squeezing, 2 minutes rest. Maintain 30 to 40% grip intensity. Do this while sitting comfortably. Keep breathing normally. Give it 3 months before expecting significant results. Second, diaphragmatic breathing, 5 to 10 minutes daily. This can be broken into 2 sessions if that's easier. Practice belly breathing, inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 2, exhaling for 6. Make the exhale longer than the inhale. Do this first thing in the morning and before bed if possible. Third, interval walking, 3 times per week with rest days in between. Start with a 5-minute warm-up. Alternate between 2 minutes brisk walking and 2 minutes moderate walking for 20 to 25 minutes total. End with a 5-minute cool down at easy pace. If you're new to exercise, start with regular brisk walking for 6 weeks before adding intervals. Fourth, consistency matters more than intensity. It's better to do these exercises regularly at moderate effort than to do them sporadically at high effort. 5 minutes every day beats 30 minutes once a week. Fifth, combine with other healthy habits. These exercises work best alongside a low-sodium diet, maintaining healthy weight, limiting alcohol, and managing stress. Think of it as a complete package, not just exercise alone. Now, let me tell you about George because his story brings everything together and shows what becomes possible when you commit to this protocol. George was 74, retired engineer, had been on blood pressure medications for 15 years. He was on 3 different drugs, and his blood pressure was still running around 148 over 92. He felt like he'd done everything right. He took his medications faithfully. He ate what he thought was a healthy diet, but his blood pressure remained stubbornly elevated. He came to me asking if there was anything else he could do besides adding a 4th medication. I told him about this 3-exercise protocol. He was willing to try anything at that point. He started hand grip training while watching his evening news. He practiced diaphragmatic breathing every morning before his coffee. He began interval walking in his neighborhood 3 days per week. For the first month, he didn't notice much change. He was tempted to quit, but he stuck with it. By the 2nd month, his morning blood pressure readings started dropping. By the 3rd month, his average had fallen to 136 over 84. By the 6th month, his blood pressure was consistently 128 over 78. He worked with his doctor to reduce one of his medications. He felt more energetic than he had in years. His doctor was amazed at the improvement. George's story is possible for you too, but only if you commit to the practice. These exercises require consistency over time. They don't work instantly, but they work. The science is clear, the mechanism is understood, and the results are achievable. I want to be transparent about something though. These exercises are powerful tools, but they're not magic. Blood pressure is influenced by many factors, including genetics, age, other medical conditions, stress, diet, and more. Exercise addresses some of these factors effectively, but not all. Some patients will see dramatic results like George. Others will see modest results. Some will need to continue or adjust their medications. This is normal. The goal is improvement, not perfection. Even lowering your blood pressure by 5 or 10 points meaningfully reduces your risk of stroke, heart attack, and kidney disease. Every point matters. Now, before we finish, I want to share something that often gets overlooked in blood pressure discussions: the mental and emotional component. Managing high blood pressure is stressful. The constant monitoring, the worry about stroke and heart attack, the medication side effects, it all takes a toll. The exercises I'm recommending don't just lower your physical blood pressure. They lower your stress levels. They give you a sense of control and agency over your own health. They're therapeutic in multiple ways. Hand grip training provides a meditative, focused activity. Diaphragmatic breathing directly activates your relaxation response. Interval walking releases endorphins and reduces anxiety. You're not just treating your blood pressure, you're treating your whole self. This is the kind of holistic approach that makes lasting change possible. If you've gotten value from this video, if you're learning things that could help you or someone you love, I need you to do 2 things. First, subscribe to this channel. I'm committed to giving you information that helps you live healthier, longer, with more confidence in your own body. You deserve medical truth delivered clearly and honestly. Second, share this video. Think about everyone you know who's struggling with high blood pressure, anyone who's frustrated with medications or worried about their readings. This information could be transformative for them. Now let me give you a quick summary of the complete protocol to make it easy to remember and implement. Exercise number 1, hand grip training. Use a hand grip device at 30 to 40% intensity. Squeeze for 2 minutes, rest for 2 minutes. Repeat 3 to 4 times per session. 3 sessions per week on non-consecutive days. Exercise number 2, diaphragmatic breathing. Breathe into your belly, not your chest. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 6, with the exhale longer than the inhale. 5 to 10 minutes daily, ideally morning and evening. Exercise number 3, interval walking. Warm up for 5 minutes at easy pace. Alternate 2 minutes brisk walking with 2 minutes moderate walking for 20 to 25 minutes total. Cool down for 5 minutes at easy pace. 3 times per week with rest days between sessions. Remember, consistency over months is what produces results. Give yourself at least 8 to 12 weeks before expecting significant changes. Track your blood pressure and share that data with your doctor. Let them know you're implementing this exercise protocol. Work with them to adjust medications if your numbers improve. You have the tools now, you have the knowledge. The only question is whether you'll use it. Your health is in your hands, literally with hand grip training, through your breath with diaphragmatic breathing, and with your feet through interval walking. 3 simple exercises that could change everything for you. Take care of yourself. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue cutting through confusion and giving you actionable truth about your health.